Want to be able to invite 25 of your friends to watch an Orioles game in a catered suite? For your chance, play Strike It Rich scratch-offs from the Maryland Lottery and enter your non-winning tickets online at mdlottery.com/strikeitrich by May 3rd at 9 a.m. Welcome back to Inside PressBox. Earlier this week, the Ravens' schedule was announced for the upcoming season. Here to review it with me is PressBox Ravens reporter Joe Platania. And Joe, this schedule is being ranked as one of the hardest in the National Football League. It is what it is, as Brian Billick used to say. I mean, you got to play the teams that are in front of you.
Yeah, we knew before the schedule release that the Ravens and the St. Louis Rams were tied for the fourth toughest schedule in the NFL based on the divisional rotation. The opponents were already known before the schedule release. All we didn't know was the sequencing, the days of the week, the networks, and all of that. But we already knew it was going to be a tough one.
Now, this notion that you get a first-place schedule, a second-place schedule, you say that's nonsense. It hasn't existed.
There is no such thing anymore as first or last-place schedules. They went out the window in 2002 when the Houston Texans came in as an expansion team. The new schedule formula was put in place. 14 of your 16 games are predetermined years in advance. I could have told you the Ravens' 2012 schedule in 2002. Only 2 games are determined by where you finished the previous year, and this year it's the New England home game and the Houston road game.
All right, so I could ask you, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, if I asked you tomorrow who they're playing in 2019, you could tell me within an hour.
I could probably do that. Yes, they are playing the NFC North in 2013. We do know that.
We know that.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick look at this schedule, by the way. If we could put it up, we'll show Joe's article on our website, PressBoxOnline.com. And the schedule is there with Joe's story down at the bottom. But Joe, tell me a couple peculiarities about this schedule.
Well, they're going to be on national TV 4 times, but 3 of them are within the first 4 weeks of the schedule. So coaches are creatures of habit. They like having the Sunday to Sunday routine. And that's what they do have, despite the fact the Ravens are an elite team that are on national TV a lot. But yet, despite that, they still have a lot of Sunday to Sunday sequencing, particularly towards the middle to the end of the schedule. So keeping that routine, John Harbaugh definitely likes that.
All right. The fact that they play, the one real oddity to me is the 2 games within 3 weeks against the Steelers. That seems exceptionally tough for both of those teams and makes the middle game kind of a trap game for both of us.
Yes, indeed. That's a CFL thing. If people remember what the Baltimore Stallions were in the CFL, 1994-95, that's pretty common in that league to play the same opponent twice in a 3-week span. I remember the Stallions played Calgary twice in a 3-week span once, and that didn't do them any favors. Houston and Indianapolis have the same thing going on with them. 2 of the last 3 weeks of the season where those games could hold some very big meaning for those teams. They're playing twice in 3 weeks, so it's unusual. But if you remember the CFL years, we've seen it before. One
thing that I noticed, and we got just over a minute, Joe, is the travel this year does not seem that excessive. They've got games in Washington, Philadelphia. They got a home game against the Giants. It's a little less mileage, got to be.
Yeah, about 13 of the 16 games are being played in the Eastern time zone. There's games in Kansas City and San Diego. That kind of the exception to the rule, but won't be too tough on them from that respect.
All right. Joe, we appreciate your coming in here. One last question. The cover story this week, Head Games. You didn't write it. Dave LaMonaco did it, about sports psychology. It uses Billy Cundiff's issues at the end of the season last year as kind of a pivot point for a story about sports psychology. Is Billy Cundiff going to be able to make it back this year?
I think Billy Cundiff has shown remarkable resiliency. A lot of people don't remember that before he came to the Ravens, he'd bounced around with about a half-dozen teams over 6 or 7 seasons. He'd kicked 7 field goals in a Monday night game. He's used to the spotlight. He's used to success and disappointment. He can bounce back.
All right. Joe Platania, we appreciate it. Once again this month, with help from our friends, Mr. Basement and the Baltimore Humane Society, we're featuring our Pet of the Month. And this time, meet Nixon. He's an 8-year-old Terrier American Pit Bull mix who enjoys the outdoors. He's a rubber ball enthusiast and enjoys football Sundays on the couch. You can read more about Nixon and find out how to adopt him at PressBoxOnline.com in this month's print edition of PressBox. And that wraps up our show. We thank our guests, Ed Hale and Joe Platania and Paul Moyer. Coming up next week, Stephen Martino, director of the Maryland Lottery. He'll be here. Have a great week ahead.